Yeah, hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are looking how to constitute a company, what is important. Don't be confused when there are sometimes German videos. Therefore I have a playlist. If you go to my channel, there is a playlist only English videos. How to constitute a company. And first of all, I usually send my clients a questionnaire. In this questionnaire, I ask you, for example, what is the name of the company? The name of the company, I usually ask for three names, because we first have to check if we can use the name that you want to have for your company. If there is already a registered company with the same or very similar name, then we cannot use this. Or you also cannot use things that being confusing with governmental office. So let's say you would make a company Migration SAS. Also, this will not work. So therefore we always ask for three names, and then we look what name works. And then another question, of course, is then also the address of the company, the phone number of the company, and very important, the activity of the company. The activity, each activity there we have to check out, because the activity we have to put in a so-called activity code. So the objective of the company, and each objective or each activity has something like a code. And this is part of the statutes. As well, we need to know how many shares you want to have. Let's say you want to have 10 shares, each share 1 million, then your share capital will be 10 million. Then based on this information, we are writing the statutes. I have here statutes. How does this look like? Here in this legal, or in this paper, we fill in all the information, what it needs to constitute a company. These are more or less about, I would say 15 pages, where we also regulate who is the shareholder, also who is the president of the company. And here comes something very important. There are the president of the company is the representante legal, and then we have also the representante suplente. This is something like the vice president. And why this is so important, we see this later. Why you probably should use someone who is your vice president. This does not mean that he has to have a work contract with you. It's just a position in the company without work contract, if you don't want. So when we have ready this document, the statutes, we go with the statutes and a lot of forms to the Chamber of Commerce. And in the Chamber of Commerce, you have to pay a fee to register this company. And the fee that you would have to pay in the Chamber of Commerce depends on your capital, so on the patrimonio. And each Chamber of Commerce has a little bit different prices. Usually if you use a capital of, let's say, 150 million, which you should have when you want to apply a visa with the company, then you should have a minimum capital of 100 times the minimum salary. I always recommend go a little bit over this amount, so because usually you get the visa for 1 year and the minimum salary is increasing every year. So that means that you don't have to make every year a capital increase, that you fulfill the requirements for the visa. It makes sense when you constitute already go a little bit over this absolutely minimum, then you avoid extra costs for capital increasement. And when you have a capital of 150 million, you probably pay around 2,500,000, this depends. If you don't need a visa and just want to have a company here, there is no minimum capital you need. So that means, you can already have a company with a share capital of 1 million. That's possible. If it always makes sense is another question. But yeah, if you are below 35 years, then you get a discount from the chamber for young entrepreneurs. Okay, now we have these statutes and the forms in the Chamber of Commerce. Now the Chamber of Commerce is checking this document and the forms. This can take a week, it can take 2 weeks. It depends on the chamber where in Colombia you register your company. And here, be careful, your company needs an address. And let's say you cannot have an address, a company address in, let's say, Bogota, and you want to register your company in Cartagena. This does not work. That means the company address is really important for using the right Chamber of Commerce. This does not mean that you wouldn't be able to make business then in Cartagena. You can register your company in Bogota and you still can do business all over Colombia, all over the world. So, but your business address, yeah, your headquarter or whatever has to be in the city where you will register your company. That means you need an address. Many of you, they don't have an address because they are probably in an Airbnb or they live in hotels or whatever. They are not always here. So then we as autarky, we offer as well to use our company address. We have an office in Medellin, in Envigado, and we have another one in Santa Marta. That means when someone wants to use our company address as their company address, then we always use the Chamber of Commerce of Envigado or Santa Marta. When you then later on want to move the company to another address, it's absolutely possible. It always costs a little bit money to move one company from one chamber to the other chamber. Also, when you want to make changes in your company or whatever, and you have to go to the chamber, then it makes no sense to register the company far away where you are later on, or your lawyers are. So when the Chamber of Commerce checked everything and everything is okay, then they register your company also with the tax number. Before you had to apply the tax number separately. Now it's already done by the Chamber of Commerce. That means when the company is registered, then you can get an extract of the Chamber of Commerce, which looks like this. Here is the logo of the chamber, and here are all the very important information about your company. We always recommend also to register SAS. With the SAS you have a legal entity. Of course, you can also register a business activity as a natural person in the Chamber of Commerce, but I always say, then you are not protected as a natural person. If you have a legal entity, if you have a claim or something else, then the claim is against the company and not against you as natural person. I prefer to have probably a little bit more costs per year to run a company than being on risk as a natural person. For this reason, legal entity exists. Okay, now we have the extract of the Chamber of Commerce. Most people then want to have logically a bank account on the name of your company, so that you can wire money, that you can start your business. And now I will come back to the issue that you probably need to have a so-called representante legal suplente, something like a vice president. And this vice president should have a cédula, an ID card, Colombian ID card, or cédula extranjería, that means an expat, a foreigner with a visa if you don't have a visa. If you have a visa, it is not a problem. But when you don't have a visa, many banks, and I would say the most of them, they have a problem when you as a natural person, as a foreigner, no visa holder, want to open up a bank account, even if it's for a legal entity, because the legal entity is a Colombian legal entity and you are the president. And to avoid this, if it works, if the bank opens the company, the bank account without having a visa, then you are lucky, fine, everything works. We had this as well, but many times you get in trouble and say, no, you cannot open this bank account, and it's really annoying sometimes. And here in Colombia, sometimes it works, sometimes not. To avoid all the trouble, put someone in as your vice president who has Colombian ID card, Colombian citizen, or at least an expat that has already a visa and an ID card. It makes life much easier. This person does not have to be an employee, it does not have to be a shareholder, it is just a position in the company. And with this person then together, you can open up a bank account. And you, of course, you can remove this person later on as well from the Chamber of Commerce. And when you wire the money, so if it's more than, I would say, $8,000-$10,000, I would register the money transfer in the Banco de República. In general, when you make investments and constituting a company is like making an investment, you would have to register this money transfer in the Banco de República. This is something like the national bank, and you have to declare for what reason did you wire this money. And they want to know, and this is the F4 form, and with this form you have to say how much money did you wire, the exchange rate, and the reason why you wire this money, and these are codes. Normally, some banks, they make these forms by themselves, and others, they tell you, go to a lawyer. We offer the service as well, but make sure that you register this money, because if you don't, and you later on want to apply a visa, you will be rejected if you don't have this document. We had these cases already that people open up a company with someone who has no idea about visas and everything, and then the migration is asking for this F4 registration certificate, and if you cannot bring that, if you cannot show that, then your visa application was for nothing. And you cannot register the money transfer a year later or so. That's not possible. It has to be very close to the time when you wire the money. This is very important. When you have now your company registered, when you have your bank account, when you wire the money, when you register the money, then your company will be ready to start. I will make a part 2. How to run a company, how to register employees, what is important when you want to reapply a visa in the second year, then what you should look at, how it works with work contracts. These are also important topics, what I'm going to tell you in another video. Therefore, follow the channel, don't miss anything. And as I told you at the beginning, don't be confused when you see sometimes German videos. I have special playlist only for English videos. Okay, I wish you all the best, and then we see us next time. Bye bye.